Yes,
Yes.
that can.
Going live, going live.
Are we live?
We
Are
are
we live?
live.
Cool. So, guys, this will be, I think, for now our last, subsequent live stream. Um, we were doing this now, in case you missed it or it's the first time here on this live stream. We were trying to do this like 6 weeks in a row. I think we did, right? From somewhere end of November. I think this is our
Mm-hmm.
sixth time. We just wanted to connect it a little bit better with you guys and answer some questions we get through the comment section. Yeah, we wanted to address them live. That's always a little bit more. I don't know. You can go a bit more into detail. We try to answer it the best we can, mostly on the comment section, but it's also nicer to have it in a little bit of a conversation with you guys.
Yes.
So this last one, yeah, it's open for all questions. If you have questions regarding ear training, transcription, music in general, and for or arranging or anything music, you can just put them in the comments, and you also can let know who you are or just say hi and where you're from. That's always great to know. Um, and then we want to talk a little bit, I think, about the future.
Yes.
2021 is close, so it's still pandemic time, but probably in 2021 stuff is getting back a little bit more open, and bit by bit, not directly like before, but just bit by bit, it will be hopefully at least a little bit better. So there will be also more opportunities, and yeah, let's discuss them. I think there's probably quite a big change happening in the music industry. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Timothy. I did quite some. I don't know. I tried to check what the giants did, like the Spotify's and the bands that mostly didn't do something, or some. Yeah, live stream was the new hype, of course. So, what do you think? Will it stay in the mix,
What will stay
or
in the
will it
mix?
the live streams
Oh,
like the,
that's a good question. I I think so. Maybe not in the huge way that maybe was anticipated or something, but in some form or another, I think it'll be part of what people will do. I think especially in combination with just uh, live gigs and have a
Mhm.
live stream simultaneously. Maybe in that way, I think that's gonna be the main thing.
Yeah. So by the way, hi to I don't know how you pronounce your name, but Lala. We are fine, I guess. I didn't talk to Timothy since quite, um, so I don't know for Timothy, but I think he's fine.
I am fine.
And Narvis and George, hey Muros, all very familiar names. So hi, how are you all doing? A Merry Christmas still, of course. Yeah, I was already, it was in the past for me, but still, surely, Merry Christmas. I'm already focused on, a lot of things in the future. So even probably New Year's Eve and stuff like that will be just something like that. It will be anyway a little bit different this year, and I'm not a big partier, anyways. So, yes, great that you can make it, Muros. I think it's the first one. We like I just said, we did 6 of them, of the live streams, I
Yeah.
think, Timothy. So yeah, so sorry if you see us freeze. It's not always like the like we are really freezing, but sometimes also reading your comments for me it's a little bit up there. So yeah, what's the future? Like live stream. So guys, I don't know how many of you did maybe already do a live stream gig. Is there somebody that did already a live stream gig? And next follow-up question would be, is it an open live stream, like you just put it out, or maybe a paid live stream gig? Because that's also what did happen quite a few. Like I saw quite big bands already try it out. Also Toto, I think, even did like a big show with a live stream. Didn't see it, but I saw they were kind of setting it up. And we will do one. We will probably live stream it from this channel in April. So that's still a lot of, with the Sharp 11 Electric Band, it's still a lot of work to, and a little bit of, I need to look to make it as good as possible, but there is just a lot of things that can go wrong. Let's put it that way. with the internet or the live stream itself, with the audio, the master. So it should be a cool concert. We have like a little bit of budget we got from the government here in Belgium to hire a professional mixer, lighting engineer, and broadcaster, or how do you say that? A live stream broadcaster for live broadcasting. So, but it's still a little bit, and we need to kind of, we can't rehearse yet, but we need to learn the music, kind of refreshing at least.
Oh yes.
I gave all the difficult solo parts to Timothy.
Of course.
That's a nice thing if you write music and you think of like hardcore progressions. Then for some reason, I really sincerely think like, whoa, that's cool on guitar. So, hi, GTS sucks. So reading a little bit of the comments here. Timothy, you can also do your thing. If you have some...
Do my thing. Whatever that is.
No, but what will you be doing in 2021? That's maybe a good start. What's your goals? Oh no.
My goal is to finally finish, or maybe start again and finish my a new album, which I've been planning to do for the last...
Oh, even I didn't know that. So
3 years?
Explain that.
2 years? Yeah, it started as a...
Which album?
It started as an EP thing, but now it's gotten out of control again in my mind. So it's just gonna be a full album thingy.
Of guitar stuff.
Of guitar stuff, of some lovely woodwind stuff. I'm looking at you for that. No, it really has gone. It has been. It has gone wild in my head. So I'm planning to go just all out with the instruments and.
So it's like, I know we recorded some stuff. Is like that going to be part of the album, or is there a lot that still needs to be recorded?
No, it's the idea is that that's going to be part of it, but there still needs to be a lot more written, and I'm trying to construct the entire structure of the thing. Well, I'm planning to do so if I finish up our little projects that we're having right now.
Yeah, I think that's great. Timothy really writes some, great music, and also music you don't expect, guys. It's hard to describe. If you check his introvert Instagram, that's not really like, I don't know if you're posting still there, but he posted a lot of some, how do you describe it? Kind of cinematic, metal-ish jazz, a bit orchestral, not always orchestral, but with a classical. I don't know. You can hear your classical that you studied a lot of classical composers. I think you did, right? Mm-hmm. But it kind of shows. It's really special. It's really, really cool. Really adventure. You really don't know what you will get and at the same time, yeah, I think it's really refreshing. But that's me, of course. But also um, looking at the comment section. So, guys, put in your questions as much as possible. We can talk a bit about what we want to talk about, but you can steer this really where you want it to go. But electronic has a big impact on pop, yes, but I see a little bit the how like maybe people get discouraged with the fact that people hire mostly yes DJs and stuff like that, and or pop bands, and they like to pay just not so much for live music, and that's always been. It's not that it got. I don't think it got worse. You know, if you read about the guys that even played like big bands in lounges or in they had like set gigs, they played 6 days of the 7. I read Paul Desmond's biography, and he played in one of the better doing big bands in the 40s before he became yeah the sidekick of Dave Brubeck, and they made okay. There's of course inflation and stuff. The dollar is not the same as, but they made like $7 a day, on which with the inflation kind of will be maybe I don't know was I believe it was you should do it 11 times what it was then, so $77 a day. Okay, and they did like 6 evenings, and they stayed there in that I think it's casinos and stuff they played. That's also not a lot they got paid, you know. So hi Didier, good evening there.
Hey.
So what I think is actually I think 2021 and the live stream, I know everybody does it, but can potentially maybe do a lot of good for all of us. Certainly for the very small genres like jazz and even yeah I don't know and the alike. I think because of internet you can get a targeted audience. You can really if we go here and we play where we live in like the area, we play mostly kind of or at least the Sharp 11 electric band plays some fusion jazz, and there are people that like it here. We had them on live concerts, but in like 100,000, how many will that be? I don't know, let's say 500. And 100,000, Timothy, don't look so like it's a high estimate, but doesn't matter. But if the whole world is your um, potential, and there's some good ways you can target the audience. I know there's you have hashtags and stuff like that, but not only. If you just start to build a little bit of more story, I think it's all about storytelling. If you see the big brands and you see how also within the jazz world, like a Jacob Collier or the Knower or this who's hip now, J.D. Beck and Domi, uh, that recently played with Thundercat, Ariana Grande, but they all have something to tell about it, not only in terms of playing, which is hugely important, but also the complete picture there. So that's my take on it. I think it's good times for musicians, actually. The other side is true, like I just saw in the comments. Yes, there's so much music out. There's way too much music out. Anybody couldn't listen to 1 zillionth in a lifetime, even all the free music that's out there. But the good part of it is you can get to more people, and people will buy your, I think, complete picture, complete story. I don't know if you, I know you have some thoughts on it, but maybe also if you're not agreeing, Timothy, you can just.
No, I do. It is all about like the story and the well, it gets thrown a lot out there, of course. Like it's all about storytelling and blah blah blah. But like those guys you mentioned, like they have like a big personality, like a big musical personality. Of course, I don't know how they are in personal life, but that's beside the point. Like there's I'm trying to avoid certain cliches here, but they can use. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm going to say, like, they can use any medium that there is and turn it to their advantage to create an experience with it. Like, I'm sure Jacob Collier, or however you pronounce his name, like, if he does a live stream, he will do something with it that makes it very interesting and very cool. If he does a live gig, he'll do something else with it. If he does, doesn't matter what it is, what the medium is, he'll do something with it in his own style and his way.
But the thing is, I think part of his style is that you also know, like, you know how he talks, you know how he thinks about music, you know how he edits, you know how he. It's not that you're only going, or most people at least, going for the audio what he produces.
No.
It's not just audio wave files you're trying to go after.
No.
Also, probably, but you're also thinking of a very clear image in your head and a complete, the personality behind it completely. So I think that's, for me, also a good realization from maybe some time back. Not to, like, I teach young students between 14, 18. So that's like, you know what's going on now in the pop music scene, and also where that's what they call, what's it, generation Y? Yeah, not generation
Z,
but like the but not like always the guys or the kids between 14 and 20, more or less are where the most targeting is kind of at from a marketing perspective, because they are the ones that, they like, if you see now what's hip, the weekend and stuff, that's mainly because it's not because the 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds like that. It's, the between, let's call it 14 and 25, because they go to concerts, they kind of decide what is hip. It's now back the 80s, 90s, the complete culture kind of. That's also where, like, mostly it's always marketed at. So I don't know where I came from. Sometimes I kind of drive me into endless, but oh no, the thing I was saying is that I recognize that I'm mostly in it for, I'm not immune for like the visuals and attitude, totally not. But for me, music is about music, and I think I prefer, probably I go with the audio most of the complete picture. But I think if you look at kind of the common man, or the people that consume the most, and certainly that age where it's mostly targeted at, they go with the complete picture, and probably more even the visuals, and like take Billie Eilish. I mean, girls identify with her, not only with her singing, but with how she dresses, how she puts stuff on stage, what she says. So it's much more than, it's also the singing and the music, but it's all kind of entangled. And what do we learn by that? Yeah, I know we are kind of, probably most people here are, or all are jazz musicians, or kind of from that. But I think we can learn a lot from that. You don't have to sell your soul to anything. It's kind of just thinking more also what you like visually, even if it's really simple stuff. I don't know a good example, but I surely should know, like, somebody that maybe has like just one angle, and he does just always the same thing, maybe from a camera, and has almost nothing. Like Colin Stetson goes, Colin Stetson, the saxophone player. I hope you know him. He's great. He always goes into kind of with his saxophone into an ambient room, like in a, what was it again? In a old building, or sour tube, or how do you call it? It's just and because there is reverb, and it's just, that's enough. It doesn't have to be all fancy stuff, and I don't know, you need a lot of money for it. There are so many self-made bands now. Look at Adam Neely. Like, we went to his concert when we were in LA almost a year ago with Nam, and people were, it sold out, and the line was crazy long, and people stayed crazy long to just say something to him after the show. So, that's because Adam Neely, you know him probably from his in kind of in a other direction it went there. You know him from his great tutorial videos here on YouTube, but a lot of people also know his music. We know his music. We liked his music. We went when we were there and we had the opportunity. So, okay, that's a long rant. I'll read some comments. Okay, there's a guitar question for you, Timothy. Can I address the last question, Lala? With like Billie Eilish was an example, and probably in the pop culture, there's maybe they put way more effort into the culture and like the image around her, and I don't say you need to do that in this kind of balance. It's all about balance, and probably in the pop world they put way more emphasis on the we have a friend that plays in a hugely popular band here in Belgium. I went a few times to his live concerts. They have like flamethrower stuff and I don't know, and glitter is coming down. It's I don't know, a lot of stuff is happening. And yeah, sure, they're maybe probably putting the emphasis on that side. But I'm just saying you could think about just a little bit. Don't only show a WAV file. That's kind of what I'm saying. Just think a little bit. Even if you're a very kind of straightforward person, you can even make that look really good, I think. Or very simple. You can. It's maybe also just about then taking one camera, one mic. You're playing solo, I don't know, and you do always the same thing. Just doing the same thing gives you already kind of this, like you will have a style in music, you also probably have then a style in your visuals. If that makes sense. So I'm not advocating you go all out into all the fancy side stuff. Totally not.
I'm having a lot of things going on at once. I don't know what to do first.
Brain damage. You see, overload, explodes.
Wait, I'll try to.
Where is the? Yeah, you. Andreas.
Wait. I'll go for the guitar stuff.
It's guitar time.
Well, that's a tricky one. Trying to play above your level. Well, I don't know what your level is, what your goals are. I think if I analyze myself, I always try to play above my level in some way. It also depends on how far above your level. Like, you could go a little bit above, which is then sort of within your reach, but you're struggling. But you could also go way above, and then you're just...
I think it's all about balance. I think you should go always about a little bit above your level, but really not too far, but just always a bit. It should be always a bit out of the comfort zone if you want to do practicing, at least.
Yes.
Practicing is about going out of your comfort zone. Don't play stuff you already know. You're wasting your time. So always go out of the comfort zone, but don't, I mean, if it's really, really much above the level, then it's also doesn't make sense. So it's a little bit, all this is about, you really should know, it's really hard to tell, but where your level is kind of at. And also keep on analyzing yourself, and it's really easy to say like I know what my level is, but it's not so easy. I do it still all the time, I think, kind of trying to fine tune at least. I recently came to a very big, how do you say that, enlightenment about practicing. I don't do so much practicing, if I'm being honest with you. I did never a lot of practicing. I was first thinking I did a lot of practicing, but no, I'm not a good practicer. I think I might be a good practicer, not somebody who does it very regularly or really long sessions. I cannot focus on long sessions, but I try when I take my saxophone to go for something specific. Even if it's 10 minutes, I think that does way more than 2 hours of, noodling around. So that's it. So go for something and be as specific as you can. So recently, I yesterday thought about this. I'll give you an example. I thought about all the transcriptions I did so far, about 120, and like 90% I saw written there. I thought like, okay, I kind of theoretically know what there is. I could have improvised that. I can't. I'm not that creative, but I could theoretically, and I could theoretically play it technically. So in that broad sense, I could have improvised most of it myself. And I like a lot of the stuff I transcribed. So instead of always, trying out new concepts of playing like melodic minor, or I don't know, two-pair triads, or concepts of improvising, I should spend the rest of my life fine-tuning the stuff I know. And kind of, it's like with speech, I shouldn't learn more ways to yeah, just to tell something like the vocabulary. I shouldn't learn more words. I have to learn how to speak nicely and put them in the right order, and just all that, and the phrasing and the pauses and how it's constructed. That's how I want to spend the rest of my life now. And that's something that just really came to me really last week. And like yesterday I thought, this is cool that I realized this. Now I need to transfer this into some specific purpose for practicing. Otherwise, I don't do it. I know myself. So I thought of it. If I should do from next week on, guys, keep me to it. Ask me if I did. Next week, every day, 5 minutes of practicing. Logbook. Make the barrier as low as possible. I would say to myself years ago, I should do 1 hour a day at least or more, but that's way too much. Make it as just as tiny as possible so that you can't go around it. 5 minutes everybody can do. So that, and what will I do those 5 minutes? I will take a metronome or a playback track, something like Abersold, and I will practice two-pair triads. Not outside way, just like if it's on a blues, because I want to do it on dominant chords. So I will do two-pair triads on the root and the flat 7. That gives kind of a sussy sound with play along track, because I need to work on my timing big time. So that's something very specific. I cannot go around that. That's when I pick up my saxophone, I know what to do. And the biggest way of losing your time and really wasting your time is to go and practice and you don't know what to practice, or you don't have a clear goal about what to practice. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my recent ta-da.
Yeah, I did used to practice a lot, but there was also I was also the things that drove me to practicing were always like tune or songs or solos or whatever things that I found were cool. But at a certain point, I didn't feel like I really wanted to learn another solo or something, or I hit a level where I thought, yeah, I could play this if I spent the time on it, and then
Sure,
I
yeah,
didn't anymore.
exactly.
So
Exactly. That's what a lot of transcription. I have this now. I think really, I still think, oh wow, that's cool, and this and this, and wow, and yeah, it works like this. Yeah, I could learn this. Probably, yeah, if I spend some time, but yeah, I'm not going to do it. I just understand what's in there, and I don't have also really the time to do that at this moment. So then you just leave it like that. And when I practice more, that was because there were some, but more external given goals. Like we used to be, at least I used to be in quite some bands back in the conservatory, and there were some purposes. I was in a Latin band. I should learn Latin, difficult Latin tunes, and to improvise in that style. I did some flamenco jazz, some soprano. Okay, cool. I should work on my soprano sound and intonation and all the stuff that comes with it. And you have those goals, but bands can give you that, certainly if you're a sideman. But if you don't have that, you should know what you want to kind of go for, and then define your little goals. And the goals, even I don't mind reaching a goal. I don't know even what that would be. Reaching like this goal, like playing more in time. Yeah, we will always be able to work on your time. I just want to get better. So
yeah.
Thank you, by the way, Lala. Cool that you follow the 5-minute practice routine. That really helps, and it's not like, also that like motivation is overestimated. All, especially the days when you don't feel like practicing, those matter. That's where I think the difference is between really great musicians and just good musicians.
True. I think I had another point.
So cool.
Oh yeah, no. The thing I wanted to, the reason I said that before was, I sort of have to figure out new things that motivate me to practice, or like not motivate, that.
I don't think motivation or the word is bad, but it's like at least a little bit overused.
Yeah, but there's something that, if I think back about those early days, and I just the thought of wanting to be able to play that thing that I wanted to play, it felt easy to practice. It wasn't I couldn't wait to spend my time on my guitar. I'd done my homework and blah blah blah, and then I went on to my guitar. But now it's like I have to find that other thing that is going to trigger that, sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Thomas, yes, the major scale, I also keep coming back to that. Kind of for everybody, everything, if you work on the fundamentals, kind of, I saw something with Rick Beato and Toshin Abasi. So he's crazy, right? I don't know really a lot of his stuff, but what I saw, it's kind of crazy. I know like some young kids are into it, certainly the metal guys, and they're like, oh, Toshin, blah, blah, blah. And then he showed some stuff he was working on. Okay, and had some crazy jumps over octaves and stuff. So the combination of but it was basically just major scales. Also, yeah, major scales are usually important. The rest can be derived from that.
Yeah,
I think so. Keep working on that.
That's by the way the entire thing of my fretboard fundamentals. That's just major scale. But really, the better you have a grasp on the simple major scale, like you said, you can just derive all the other stuff from that. It's
absolutely.
Really like the starting point, and it's the start and the end. In the end, no, that's.
I know some music theoretics that will claim there is no minor. By the way.
Oh yeah.
we've had that philosophical discussion before. So I mean, but that's maybe a little bit too far. There is something to say for it, by the way, but I'm not totally buying into that. But there is something to say from it. It makes stuff easier, kind of, from a theoretical point. If you talk in step degrees and stuff like that, you don't need to go like it's always, But he would claim like minor, just like the one. What we would see, the one is the 6-step degree. So a 2-5-1 there would be a 7-3-6. But still a 2-5-1, of course, because I mean there are more 2-5-1s that aren't in the key, which are just secondary 2-5s. But
I don't really agree with that either, but whatever.
But anyway, it kind of clears up, You don't have to go into modi kind of even.
Like it's if you see
it kind of makes it simpler from one point of perspective, because you don't need to always move your step degrees, kind of.
Well, yeah. Like modi it's not like it's unimportant. It was like in the very old days, that was like the way that they compose music, like the Baroque stuff and all the polyphonic stuff that was in different modi, like Dorian and whatever. But my biggest beef with people talking about modi and stuff is mostly guitar teaching methods, and they teach like learn all the modes and all the positions, and like you're doing a million things extra which are really not necessary. But I don't know, I'm going a little bit off topic and into very guitar specific things here.
Yeah. So let's just put an intermezzo by maybe just we are like 2021. That's what we were starting to talk about. Yeah. So put in your put in your questions, guys. That's great. Really, it's really great to answer them in real time, and some really good questions that already passed by. But for 2021, by the way, we are kind of trying. We are doing, not trying. We are in the background, kind of making a new membership website, a Sharp 11 Music membership website with lessons for saxophone from me and Timothy for guitar. That's what we are doing. We are, like Timothy said, he's working on an album of himself. I'm working on some new music. We were just before we went live, Timothy is recording something for that. I always give him a lot of assignments to do. But it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun. So we were trying also back to make a little bit more music, by the way, because the channel does take some time. The transcribing does take a lot of time, and it's cool. We will keep doing that, but we also just, why we do that is to get better ourselves also as musician, and to hopefully be more creative and put out the music we are anyways making. So that's what we will be doing in 2021. And what I guess, I'm pretty positive about live streams, for at least for big bands, not big bands, but for huge bands, and for jazz musicians or kind of the alike, because it's so specific. I play in a band. It's called the Mambissimo Big Band. It's a Latin mini big band kind of. We play Latin jazz, which is kind of really specific. But the band, we played a few times live, but it's a huge. Yeah, we have a lot of people. It's a lot of organizing, a lot of session players and all professional players and Latinos. That makes a lot to organize there and to put together. And we are actually mainly an online band, even before COVID. We have like, I think 15, 16,000 followers on Facebook and on Instagram, which is really recently added. They come also really a lot quickly just because, it's really specific. There is not so much Latin jazz. There is some, but, you know, if you're going really specific in the end, there's also not so much. If you know what at least like we are big band, like a Latin big band jazz. There's not so much going on. I think at the moment. I think that's why it works partly, and because we have a few really great soloists who people like to see. But that's just an example of a band that it probably, if our Facebook wouldn't exist, like we played 2 or 3 times live, which was really nice, but it's harder to organize that, I think, and also to make it just a little bit rendable. How do you say that? Profitable for everybody, or at least like break even, just that, So, but that's only possible because of internet. So I hope. Is the membership going to include a private Discord or a separate forum?
There is a forum already in place, yes. Discord is something we could try again.
Yeah, we tried it before, and at that point it wasn't... We had some interaction and stuff, but it was not really organic, kind of. I don't know how to explain it. It could work better, but it was maybe just... It's almost 2 years ago, I think, like at that point in time.
Yes, but
hi, Jens.
Hey.
Nice that you're. Thanks for the word sustainable. Yes. But that being said, yes, you should in 2021 try to. I think it's really a great time for being a jazz musician, or whatever you do, if it's electronic jazz or Latin jazz, or even more specific than jazz, just jazz. It's great because you can really find people from all over the world. And if I would need to look for them here and them coming to a bar with the full 30 of them, that's harder, I think. I don't know. You were about to say something. I keep interrupting.
I was also simultaneously reading a comment, but no. In like, for example, Sharp 11 Electric Band, like in our case, it really does seem like a very interesting thing to do. Like, you basically just organize a get together, and you make sure, of course, that you're stream proof and you have your stuff together, that everything sounds nice and blah blah blah, and you just basically play in your... It could easily have been a rehearsal or whatever, but all of a sudden you do have like a world as a stage, which does seem very interesting.
It's very two-sided, of course. Like, the same is true for, like, everybody can record their stuff quite easily. Everybody has a home studio, like, easily. For everybody, it's kind of easy to make, which was 30 years ago even really not something you would... you had to really pay a lot before you could record something. Now you can record already great stuff that sounds better than the 80s probably with one mic. So, but that makes it you have more competition and there are more people on the platform. So it's a little bit a two-sided thing here. But if you're on the right side, I think it's also... It's hard to find people who are really consistent and... talking about consistent, Jens is somebody that's really great. He's so consistent, and he keeps on putting out these great videos. And besides putting out great content, it's also about consistency. In this world of social media, it's being top of mind. It's... if you're disappearing for even 2 weeks, people really totally forgot about you. probably. So it's not really a nice thing, and you don't need to do this, but you can do this.
Yeah,
At
like on
least.
Instagram, I follow quite a lot of like 3D artists and people who draw and stuff like that. And there are a lot of guys on there who just have like these almost personal challenges with themselves. They just create something daily and they post something new every day. Just create something new every day. Bam, bam, bam. But at the end, you have such a big body of work, and you will have learned and evolved so much.
Yes, that's the thing. Even if like it doesn't succeed from a, I don't know, perspective on how many followers or subscribers you have, you did learn a lot. I did learn a lot from transcribing. No, every 2 weeks because we do it. Of course, one Timothy, one me, one Timothy, like this. But I learned a ton from. That's the only thing I did um, on a regular base my whole life for such a long time. And I learned about from the consistency and what showed from being just consistent. By the way, there's a question about farts. I don't think I have ever have played like a fart away just for the sound of it, but you surely could. I think everything has a particular sound to it, and it could be a substitution. Like if you play on an F major and you play from like maybe in a B flat major arpeggiated thing, you have a certain sound which involves the third and the sus from that original F you're playing on. I assume that's kind of what you're saying. I'm not totally sure, but I didn't do it as a concept, but I can easily see why it can be kind of cool.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one before.
You know, I like that, but for example, I like that um, combination of thinking C major 7 on a G7 or a G sus 7. So even if you play a sus or you play a dominant, doesn't matter, but that you include both the major third and the sus kind of in it. It gives a certain. I think I heard it somewhere from Steve Vai. Not that I'm that into. I don't know so much from Steve Vai, but I heard a solo and had a nice sound to it, so I tried it out, and that's that, and that stayed with me. Sometimes it's just little things, right? That's the concept. So every kind of substitution or imposing your chord on top of each other has a certain sound.
Yes.
So sure, do the chords if you like that. It's a cool idea. I would try it out probably next time I pick up my saxophone because it's nice. It kind of reminds me with this and major third and fourth in it.
I think it's also important to sort of not really develop, but yeah, I'll go with develop your own like systems for or like ways of approaching harmony or thinking about harmony. You just get to know what is out there, all the different things, all the different theories, and then just, I don't know, kind of make it your own. Like you like something out of this, but that other thing doesn't really resonate with you, but you do like this from another thing, or this is sounding pretty vague, but like come to your own sort of theory of harmony, or
try a lot of things out, and then eventually you'll keep your own habits.
Yeah.
You know, I more often than not find myself on dominance playing half tone whole tone scale because I love the scale and I love all the kind of symmetrical patterns there that are in it. That's something I kind of as a concept stole from Brechter without kind of like stealing a single lick, but just, you know, the 3/4 solo on quartet number 1 or 2. I think 1. I think quartet. Yeah, they've not so clear names, but I think Quartet number 1 it is. It's like an insane solo he plays there, and he doesn't do only that, of course, but also with a lot of chromaticism. Even but you see always that still this concept of mind is like hugely present, even with some chromatic passing tones within that half tone whole tone scale there. But you know, and that's a certain sound I loved, so I went for a lot of. So you will, or the 2-pair triad thing I mentioned earlier, but it's all about testing out, testing, and then you'll find yourself sticking to the habits that resonate with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that's kind of answering that question. But so for to pick up, guys, put in those questions. They are great questions to answer and to discuss here. So it's a Q&A. So really, even where we even are doesn't matter. You can interrupt us or we can pick it up later. Yes, that, and by the way, that indeed attributes to your own sound. I think your own sound and stuff like it just, you're a compilation of the things you like. That's it, and that can make easily yourself, own sound quickly. Like just like you'll probably if you know me at least, or you can probably pick me out from in a room of a few hundreds of people. Timothy knows me. He probably can pick me out just from the talking. You know, it's not necessarily from which words I use, or it's about phrasing, pitch, all that kind of stuff, and we mostly use the same vocabulary. That's not the point. I think vocabulary, by the way, is overrated, guys. in terms of literal licks.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yes. So if you want to go more personal about your sound, then I would go with this.
There's a little bit this feeling like if I play the right lines, then I'm doing it right, or something like that. Then my solo will be correct. If I play this Parker lick and then this Coltrane lick, then I will be legitimately playing jazz.
Yes, exactly. And I hear that, but that's my taste. But I hear that a little bit too much, to be honest. Guys that play insane, but I hear a lot of paraphrasing, and paraphrasing is okay, but still, I like to see some new research or some new points of view.
Yes, but
too.
There's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with playing Parker and Coltrane. There's a lot of value in that stuff. It's just, it's supposed to be a study of how you can create and shape melodies. How did he play a melody? How did he form a melody? What notes was he using?
But by the way, don't you think that Coltrane did this by just the way he played more automatically, or just by accident? Because how many, like if we say somebody sounds like Coltrane, it's mostly saxophone players. Is it because of the lines he plays, or the way he kind of, the intention and the sound and the phrasing goes?
Probably the latter. Also because Coltrane has had a lot of quite a range in the sort of lines he played during his whole career.
Yeah, but for me, it's more the sound and the intention that people copy. And sometimes kind of like Brecker also got with the false fingerings, which Coltrane did, but he took it in his own way and went from there. Maybe it might be some technique stuff, but with Coltrane, for me, Parker is way more structurized in his playing. If I can say that, well, I'm probably going in a I can easily get shot for some stuff I might say, but And I, by the way, without judgment, I don't proclaim like one is better than the other, but like Parker is a little bit more, you know, logical in a way, and a little bit more tight, if I can say so. I transcribed some Coltrane. It's cool. It was Robbie My Dear with Mong, by the way. But wow, almost not a single note really landed on a solid point in time. But that gave it actually the complete, that attributed to the sound. Sound is so much more than your melodic lines and your sound, the actual sound or timbre. It's also so much, and that's something I learn more and more from more transcribing, the phrasing of it, the way you say it.
Yeah.
I recognize probably saxophone players more by ear through their phrasing than by their. If you did you ever try this, guys? If you cut off the start of a wave file of a single note, like a saxophone player or a guitar player plays, the start and the end, do that with your own sound. It's really even hard to tell which instrument it is. A lot of times. So that's about phrasing.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool. There's I followed kind of master class or even like a university class that's up on YouTube. I don't know what the name is. Otherwise, I would tell you. And it was about acoustics, and there a guy demonstrated that also with different, like with a flute, oboe, saxophone. I don't know what he all used. A string instrument, I think just guitar, and you know he had all wave files that are cut off on the beginning and the end, and it's just the middle that you hear, the timbre, and it was really hard to tell which was what. So yes, surely. I mean, Coltrane. Okay, that was that, and Coltrane certainly had more maybe than others a certain special timbre. It's still, I mean, an attribute of everybody's playing, but because also his double lip playing and it just even technique what he used to get this sound like that. But when people talk about he sounds like Coltrane or she sounds like Coltrane, I recently heard Melissa Aldana, by the way, which is really great tenor saxophone player. Yeah, I heard some amazing stuff. She sounded a bit like Coltrane, but still not. You know, she also sounded a bit like Rollins at the same time, which is really cool. I think she had the intensity of also Joe Henderson and Michael Brecker, but I probably would first say Joe Henderson and Coltrane because Michael Brecker had it from them, probably. So, so it is an attribute, your sound quality, but there's so much. It also there gets an over focus on that point. Mostly, it's just that what I try to. I don't know. Try to convey through my. Yeah, sure.
How do you like for guitar to create your sound? Yeah, you have like different types of guitars, different types of pickups, of types of wood, then you have your amps, blah blah blah, and you can get really specific of, okay, I like the sound of single coil pickups with this amp, blah blah blah, and that will give me that sound. But like in your case, like saxophone, how is it approached on a saxophone? Like you have your mouthpieces, and then what? You have alto or tenor or bari or soprano, but if you play alto, how much can you decide I want to sound more like Paul Desmond or more like Cannonball Adderley or more like Eric Marienthal?
You know, I'll start with saying somebody that I actually don't want to do because it's over focus, but it depends a bit on your setup.
Okay.
It does depend. I cannot sound like Paul Desmond on my setup I have now. Impossible. But on the other side, I would just give it 20% or something to the real sound. And your saxophone too, by the way, a bit. So the complete sound that comes from your setup might be 35%. It's just, that's at least my feeling about it. It's not that I did like a factual measurement of this. But you should just also check just the saxophone players that played on different setups, which they sometimes did. Brecker went through a lot of mouthpieces, by the way, on this, through his years. And he played, for example, he always played this Dave Gordala. That's kind of his most probably famous period, but he also played an Otto Link, which is a little bit more the Coltrane sound in the 80s he had, and then he had this problem, so he got this custom Gordala. But he also has a ballad album beginning 2000s, really great tunes on it, with Herbie Hancock, also Jack DeJohnette, and he plays there at least on the track Nearness of You, really one of my favorites, also transcribed on this channel. But really, really beautiful how he plays. And he had there, I don't know, at least a rubber mouthpiece, like even different material just made. But you hear it's Brecker. It's just the edge that might, the last edge, or that might be slightly different. It's like with like slight equalizing. But you just hear the sound of Michael Brecker. So that's what I talk also about in my lessons for the channel membership channel website, blah blah we are making now. I mean, people get so lost in this setup thing. Go for your setup, do it once, go to a store, try 10 20 mouthpieces, and if you feel comfortable, stay with it. Also stay with it at least a year, please, or two, because you need time to to know how it works, and to know how it works together with your playing. The intonation is a thing, but also just how it responds to different notes. So don't go 3 months later back into the store, and then you surely will find another great playing mouthpiece that just sounds a little bit different. Sure, and then you buy that one, and then after 2 weeks, that's not special anymore. And so it's a lot of sound is all about yourself. The most gains you can make by far is by practicing some exercises I, for example, have, and I did, and playing and listening to your sound, as simple as that. Adjusting your you have basically 3 things for saxophone, which the sound is based on. It's your throat position, your airflow, and your embouchure. So how much you bite or not, you have to find a good balance. How much the reed can vibrate. You want it to vibrate a lot, but if you're like, you can then go too open and it sounds a little bit out of the place and not controllable, and also bit duck like the guys you sometimes you hear, like duck beginners, they sound a little bit like a duck. That's mostly because they take a little bit too much of the reed, like their vibrates a lot of the reed. Then the throat position, it's like with singing, like a saxophone is a very out of tune instrument, like, and every note for the optimal sound and intonation you need to adjust in your mouth, the position of your tongue, to be most specific. That's the only way you can alter your inside of the mouth. And then the third thing is, this might be really boring for you guitar players, and the third thing is airflow. That's, you want to have a steady airflow, not one that stutters or like, and then it sounds shitty. So, and there's a lot of ways to so if you want to increase your sound, then you might work on those 3. They keep on being basics or like fundamentals to work on, and that's where you gain the most. So, and if you don't believe me, go and research some I don't know, a lot of clips from, I know Eric Marienthal has a very specific bright sound, and he did something on a Van Doren jam. Van Doren is a brand. He played a rubber Van Doren mouthpiece. Yeah, he sounded a little bit less bright, but he sounded exactly like Eric. I mean, it really doesn't matter, guys. Any favorite Wayne Shorter tunes? Oh, this is a. Can I put my Joker? No, I don't have any favorite Wayne Shorter tunes. I need to overcome myself on this. I had a very bad Wayne Shorter experience in the first. The first time you hear a new player is a very important one. I don't know if you would agree with me, but for me it is. And the first thing I heard from Wayne is on YouTube here. It's with Herbie Hancock, Cantaloupe Island. It's more than 10 years ago. And to be really sorry, I really thought at that point, I know this sounds really silly. I didn't know him. It was like really, even when I started out with jazz, I didn't know Wayne Shorter. I didn't know his name. I thought he was somebody from at the festival that just joined from like a local. I know this makes me really sound like an idiot, which it is. But he played quite out of tune. It was also outside, by the way. I mean, real outside. And he played a really weird solo. So at that point, and then later I came to recognize that he was like an insane saxophone god and also a writer. And I listened to a few things of him which were way cooler, but kind of the first impression stayed a long time with me. But I should give it way more chance. I actually have a question. I should have just not said all this and just said yes or no. I like really that tune. So forget what I told you. Wayne Shorter is incredibly cool. But like I said, one of the last live stream sessions, and which I will repeat because it's so important, because of all this transcribing, and I'll be honest with you, because we wanted to keep this channel going, and we want to keep consistency. And like I said before, with doing this, I went to search for new stuff, and I also do listen to people's recommendations in the comment section. I got to know cool things, really a lot of great things by that. Thank you for that. And I also gave a few players which initial judgment, at least by me, weren't that positive, a little bit more time, and then discovered that I liked. There are always different parameters you can like from players. And you mostly make like snap judgments, mostly based on the first lines and sounds you hear. For me, I'll give you two clear examples: Benny Carter and David Sanborn. It never, the first seconds I heard of them, I thought like, oh, I don't know, it's not for me. I don't like the sound, so then you put it off and you don't go naturally back to search all their music. But it's based on mostly just 20 or 30 seconds, I'm afraid, if I'm honest with you guys. But because I wanted to know a little bit more about some players, it really opened up for me. Benny Carter, I have a student, Cy Schmidt, a great guy, a great student. We do Skype lessons, and he sent it me 2 years ago, I don't know, something from Benny Carter. So I was forced to check it out a little bit longer. I still didn't really like the sound, but it was insane. His timing, his lines, his sense of lines, and the funny thing is, at the end, I started liking his sound. If you sometimes keep yourself a little bit more open, well, it's not that I want to sound like Benny Carter, but you start appreciating it for what it is. The same with Sanborn, and also there is so much more to discover in somebody's playing, phrasing and lines wise, and just musically speaking, just how they interpret a tune, or there's so much more to it. Um, and then you learn a lot, because then you're really crossing borders. So don't also try to bypass your first instinct. That's what I learned.
Yeah. It's good advice.
There's a question for you. How long did it take to transcribe the Sarabat by Holdsworth?
I can't remember.
How long does it generally take? Something like that.
I've sort of realized that it usually takes me 1 hour per minute to transcribe. It it usually depends on who I'm transcribing, but it kind of falls in that, I don't know, time slot. But that's with the I'm typing it into Sibelius while I'm doing it and doing stuff along the way, so it's not just figuring out lines or something. I'm putting it in and figuring out the rhythms and blah blah blah. Obviously, if it's very straightforward rhythm wise, then things go fast. In the case of Holdsworth, it's very not straightforward rhythm wise. It takes a lot of time.
Yes, I remember Zarabad. Wow. I learned a lot from doing that, by the way. Also do that, go across every border. Like at that point, then I did this Holdsworth solo on saxophone. That was one of the most, opening kind of things I did. Like, there opened a lot of possibilities that weren't really visible, because you keep on going, falling to the same paths if you take saxophone players. And I know also for guitar players, Holdsworth is really different, but still, I mean, I learned a lot by doing that, and not just technically speaking, but mostly conceptual. And also I learned more about my own taste and about what I'm doing now and what I want to change.
No.
That's a really important point, why it's important to what I still keep on learning from transcribing. I learned to know what my own taste is better and better and better by doing that. I don't know so many people or musicians that can pinpoint exactly to what their taste is, or why they like what they like, or why they dislike what they dislike.
True.
And that's a pity. I think you can learn so much from that, to create your own sound and to give yourself more direction and focus. So by the way, Narvis false fingerings is basically playing overtones on your low notes on saxophone, mostly. So you can very short history. A saxophone is also, it came from brass instruments. Brass instruments produce overtones. Saxophones can do that too. So playing like the low B flat, and then just by your embouchure and throat position, you can make it pop into an overtone. The first one's the octave, then the second one's octave plus fifth. Next one's 2 octaves above the root you're playing, and it gives a special sound, And if you start alternating them with the regular fingering, then that's Michael Brecker territory, That's really fun. That sounds really cool. I needed quite some of them to play some double notes in the Holdsworth lines too.
Yeah, but that's you can Holdsworth uses that too, and it's something you can sort of emulate on guitar. If you play, for instance, a B on the second string, and you play the same B on the third string, especially the second and the third string are very easy to do that, because the stretch is a little bit less, but you can do that on every string. But it sort of emulates that sound, because the two notes are the same, but still they're a little bit different from each other, because they're on a different string. They have a little bit different timbre, whatever. So, and that's
sound color.
Yes, and that's what Holdsworth also used a lot.
Mhm. It's, by the way, a very good exercise for your sound as well, because you need your embouchure and your throat position to kind of produce the optimal position to get that exact overtone, this frequency. So that helps with getting the better sound for the normal fingering and that actual pitch with the normal fingering as well. So I think that's also where it came from. It was kind of from the old Yodas from saxophone teaching, Joe Allard and stuff like that. He was big on those kind of exercises, and I my guess is that it just came from there. You kind of also got, mostly it's like you play that note double, so mostly it's like you play the original pitch and then the overtone, so and then you go chromatically or scale wise further, and that's what you hear Brecker do a lot, but then just sped up a lot.
Times 200.
Yes. And you can make really some cool combinations, and then the frequencies fly and you think, what am I hearing? Because it's overtones and normal tones from that same kind of pitch, but it's also mostly like a quarter tone, a little bit higher or lower. It's really not in tune. It's all like the solo from James Carter on Pick Up the Pieces, if you know that one, here also on the channel, had a lot of it, and he does like circular breathing on it, so he does that for, I don't know, a minute almost. It drove me crazy because of that. I knew basically what he was doing, but if you then even start to play with your embouchure, and he did circular breathing, so that can affect your embouchure. Long story short, it went overall. It went, yeah. It's really stupid then at that point, because you know what he's doing in fingering, but you hear weird pitches. So what do you notate? I try to go, by the way, always for the concept there.
Yes.
Not for the actual pitches. If it's not necessary, at least. If it's not too weird to do it. Always go for the intention, guys. Improvisation is for everybody hard. Even the greats, they they kind of stumble a little bit or here and there when you're improvising. That's all okay. We forgive them. So also forgive them in your notation if you're transcribing. Just put in the actual intention.
Yes.
Mostly it's really clear what the intention is still, and then you put in the intention. I think doesn't make sense to put in like weird rhythms or ghost notes or grace notes or stuff like that. So, by the way, guys, about the Holdsworth, Timothy recently has a Holdsworth approach, or a approach to how Holdsworth's lines work book out.
Yes.
Which is really cool. I also looked through the concepts. It's really, really nice, and yeah, that's what we're advocating here. But like also through a book, we really like to go from the concepts. And you have of course the transcriptions on the channel. You can also just copy it, but there in the book is more how he might have thought. We never know for sure, but at least how the lines kind of, why they work and why they are what they are.
Yeah, or at least how it looks like, how it appears, and how it sounds, and
yes, you can only mostly you have a strong when you transcribed, and certainly when you transcribed at least 5, 6, 7 or more from the same person, you're never 100% sure if you didn't ask them, but you kind of feel where they are getting mentally.
Still, no? If people ask somebody to explain what they're thinking and blah blah blah, it's always, even then, it's like sort of interpreting what they mean. It's even hard for us to explain what we're doing, why we're doing it in the moment, blah blah blah. It's sometimes you say something else than what you're actually playing or thinking, or so.
Sure. By the way, this reminds me of the time like I did a transcription of my own solo from our album from last year, and it was really funny to transcribe yourself because some things turned really out on on sheet music differently than I ever thought it would. I did also something, by the way, with like overtones, and it was really hard to transcribe myself in that. I knew, like, when I was at the saxophone, I actually knew basically what was happening there, and still it was kind of hard to transfer to written sheet music.
Yeah.
It's a stupid realization. So it's good to make the position, like switch position for a moment there.
By the way, so I'll post the page where we have all of our courses, actually, if someone is interested in all the stuff that we wrote down. And
we are really not so good at marketing, by the way. We do have stuff, but we are not so visible with that. We should work on that then.
Yes.
But there is coming a lot of stuff, like we said. There is like the memberships website coming. There is still a lot of tons of transcriptions coming. We are putting like the copyrighted ones on music notes, by the way. So we researched that during lockdown. We know there are quite some books on internet that you can buy from, for example, Charlie Parker, Cannonball, and stuff, like just PDF books. But it's not really copyrighted safe place to go. So we are not doing that anymore. We go through music notes for that. You will see the bootlegs that's non-copyrighted material we have on our Patreon at this moment. And then the lessons we make some packs or books like Timothy just made about Holdsworth, and we will have this membership website coming up really soon. I'm still working on it. I mean, it's a lot of work to put a beta version on. You know, I really have difficulties being beta or being like make a first version, like the basics, because I think everything is basics, you know, so it's hard to make basics of your basics. But I'm doing that. Also there, it gets more clear when you write it down, and then you go and start with it, and then you think like, oh no, that doesn't make sense. And you have to do it a lot. You have to fail a lot. You have to start at a point. Don't be afraid to fail or to suck at music. Yeah, you can only improve when there is something.
I still have that feeling to this very day that I think, oh, man.
But if you look at like Michael Brecker interviews and stuff like that, yeah, sorry, I know most things Michael Brecker, but there are many players that kind of still feel like they should improve a lot, and they are, you know, like even Brecker felt like he should practice more because he, you know, didn't practice enough, and he rushed. He told somewhere, he said like, I get crazy when I put on a metronome because I rush. And you know, so I think that's something at whichever level you get, even you see it among the grades, that you will feel insecure, and you will know always what you cannot do. Kind of like playing a solo is confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Kind of you if you play a great solo, that's cool, but you play what you know, of course. You don't play what you don't know. I know this might sound really silly, but if you know what confirmation bias is, it's tending to look for like, if you believe something, I don't know, politically, you only see and verify the things that support that ID, and you neglect all the stuff that doesn't. So when I say like he plays the best solo ever, it's a stupid thing, I think, to say, besides from what's the yardstick to decide what the best solo ever is. But the person in this case is playing what they know best, and that's cool. But they are not playing what they don't know, obviously. Yeah. Okay. It sounds way sillier than I mean it, kind of. But hi, Michelle. I hope I pronounced the right names.
I think it's Michele, but whatever.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because of the last name. Timothy is, by the way, partly Italian, so he can.
I can interpret.
Detect that. You can detect that way better. Have I seen Eric Marienthal at the Baked Potato here in LA years ago? No, but I saw him with the Electric Band reunion in 2016 because I literally traveled from Belgium, Western Europe, to LA just to see the Chicory Electric Band once live. So I saw him not at the Baked Potato, but not that far away from the Baked Potato, I guess, because it's in LA. I saw him at Catalina's with the. I actually had a great experience because I saw they did 2 shows in the evening. I went to the first show, and I accidentally knew the mixing guy who was from the Netherlands. We had a mutual friend. Really weird story, insane, but he kind of gave us an extra like back door entrance for the second show on permission by Jake, by the way. So we saw like 4 hours, me and my wife, like more than 4 hours of Chicory Electric Band. They played also a complete different set. The second set, Alicia Keys came even in, and they played Summertime, and she can play and sing, I mean, at the piano. So I had really worked for my buck there. That's that story. Yes, by the way, nervous, that's a better way to describe it. You avoid looking for things that contradict your views. Oh, yeah, cool. I was really, by the way, upfront, with you're supposed to eat there something like in front of the show. And like the table me and my wife were at were really hitting actually the stage next to Dave Wackel. So we were getting really right in your face from Dave, but which was cool. It was insane. Super show. I had a great time doing that. It was a really impulsive decision. Like, how much does a trip to LA cost, and how far is it with the 12 hours? Okay, if you have a straight one, okay. But that's what makes it, yeah. So guys, it's really fun, but I mean, if people have questions, really still put them in the comments, and otherwise we'll maybe start to wrap it up here. I don't know if there are more questions, shoot. And it's really fun to talk to you guys. It's really fun to see those questions. We just got them coming in. It makes it also a little bit more human or interactive than we putting transcriptions, editing just a video with a lot of notes and stuff on it. Yeah, we do some tutorials, but there weren't so many on the channel lately because I think it's because we were mostly doing a lot of the behind the scenes, making that new website with the educational stuff. But I have there is quite some things coming up soon, and I hope you don't mind, but also stuff where we actually play. I don't know if you would even like to see that. You don't see us play so much. Maybe you think, well, those guys suck big time. I shouldn't follow those guys anymore.
Unsubscribe.
Which is cool. But anyway, we also do play here and there.
Yes.
You can, like I said, we will finally be able to do, like, I didn't play a gig, by the way, in a year. No. It's pretty official now.
I honestly can't remember what my last gig was.
So I don't know what will come out of my saxophone. Honestly. Maybe it's great. Maybe it's really bad, and I should put it away for I'll keep transcribing. I'll put down my saxophone. Anyways, we have to do that gig in April with the Sharp 11 Electric Band. That will be live streamed here. So I don't know if you're interested in that. You might see that coming by. Which transcription would you say was the most difficult to do? Yeah, it depends on who this is addressed. You have to think about it.
The latest Holdsworth transcription. It's always the latest Holdsworth transcription.
I'll say that James Carter on Pick Up the Pieces just because of I had to invent ways to manage it to the next section to keep on continuing that. Sometimes you know what he does, and he does like effects because he's also a great, more abstract solo player. He knows a lot of even what classical guys do sometimes in their contemporary classical saxophone pieces, if you know what that is, Timothy. So kind of what they do. They do like a lot of overtones with the embouchure and kind of just fiddle with the fingerings, but that's not real pitches, or you just hear an effect, which is also not so. Some effects are kind of with the false fingerings. There is a kind of cultural habit of writing them down, but some are not so logical too. Even if I knew how they would write them down in the classical world, probably most of it people wouldn't even know what I was writing down, so it didn't make sense. So that was the hardest. And also with the sometimes with overtones, I put it on sometimes 50% speed or 70%, and those overtone licks then on that like half the tempo. I don't know if anybody I had there was the woman that comes cleaning the house, and she sometimes she needs me for asking something, and I'm here in my studio and doing that kind of stuff. She knocks on the door, and then she looks so with this weird eyes, like with this weird, I don't know, I cannot explain it, but she obviously thinks, what the hell is he doing? It's the most strange thing ever. But anyways, so I'm going for the James Carter. Yeah. No, it can sound awful if you put things on half the speed and then are really like, and also in a loop, and are listening to it in a loop, and you're like, and then you're kind of trying it on the saxophone, and then also in slow motion, like, yeah, it sounds, but that's a good thing. If it sounds bad, also with practicing, it means you're practicing something you don't know.
Opa.
So if you sound bad while practicing, good job. Yeah, try to improve it, but it means at least you're kind of, you took something worthwhile practicing. That's mostly it. Yeah. Cool, guys. Maybe we should wrap up here. I don't know. Maybe a question for you. What should we do next? What do you like more of? And that can be in a broad sense. Like, do you like the transcriptions? Do you like, we did some lick of the weeks or some tutorials about general ideas specific on saxophone or on guitar, but also kind of more broad on music in general, on ear training. We did several things. What else did we do, Timothy? Or some new ideas for us. Now we are doing these live streams. I don't know if these are fun. I see some familiar faces from the last weeks, so that's great. It's really great to see. So should we keep on doing these? And I don't know. A lot of, you can give us some input or not, and then we will come up with whatever we put out. So, but at least all the best for the new year. It was a strange year. It will continue to be a bit strange, but always, in whichever position you are at now, and probably it's a not so good position for most of us in the world due to restrictions and health concerns, of course, but you always can move your context a bit, just rephrase the. I like, for example, that I don't like that I'm not playing gigs and earning less money by doing so, but I do like a lot the fact that I had a lot more time to didn't do it put it so much into practicing, but at least into writing and arranging more new music. That's what I also like. And I learned a lot of new things, and we could start um, the membership channel and stuff like that. And probably if there wasn't COVID, maybe we would have eventually done that. That's it's not that, but they're open always some other doors. You also always can reframe it. That's what the word I looked for. That's really important. Wherever you're at, this moment, you will never, probably ever in your life have so much time left. I mean, in your own house. Probably. I cannot speak for everybody, but at least there are a lot of social engagement stuff, things that otherwise, of course, would be there and no aren't, and that opens some. You always can learn new things on your saxophone, on production. That's also stuff we both do a bit because we want to record also our music, and we want to also make videos for music, and then you also have to learn to edit and whatever you need to kind of reach your goal. Keep on learning. That's something I hope you can do in 2021. And use your time for the best. Thanks, Glenn. We'll keep that in the back of our mind. Okay, live performances, guitar transcriptions, live streams.
More of everything.
More of we should do. We should at least. There's always if you are at this point, if you also have your own band and you want to make something out of it, and I think 2021 and live streams are a big opportunity for you. That's the last thing I kind of want to give you, some really practical something to go on with. Check out Jack Conte extras, more particularly here on YouTube. He has I don't know if you know who Jack Conte is. He has made Patreon with the idea of, maybe Scary Pockets. It's a great YouTube channel. I think they are about 700K here on YouTube, and it's very clear what they do. It's clear in branding. It's clear in vibe. It's clear in video editing. They do pop songs with a funk-ish code, with great musicians, and great, mostly changing musicians. They put out, I think, at least every week. Jack Conte also did that earlier with his, I think, girlfriend or wife, Pomplamoose. They have more than 1 million. So he knows how to kind of, the thing I was actually describing in the beginning, and which pop artists do way more, the storytelling around it. He also did this, for more, I think, more into our scene. Snarky Puppy is also a good example of that storytelling, I think. There are really some people who do that also within the jazz scene. So if you want to get more gigs or more kind of, that stuff, check out Jack Conte. He has also a very cool, that's kind of a side YouTube channel he has, and that's called Jack Conte Extras. That's more for creators, for musicians, and he has some scroll through the whole channel. Some are less direct practical, but some really practical advice for setting up and how to think more around your music. I think he describes it as the box with music in it, but like if you get something new and the box looks a little bit bad, you are not opening it. So you don't have to change your art, your music, but you should change the box. Otherwise, people don't go and look inside. That's basically somewhere what he says. But yes, a lot of great ideas. Um, that's something I can hopefully leave you with. Go and research that if you're into it, at least. Otherwise, all the best from Sharp 11 for the new year. You can always contact us in the comments, or we always try to check it and respond to it. Although sometimes it's hard to just keep up with it, but we really try to do that. We really like connecting with you guys. We'll kind of brainstorm. We did now a 6 week period of these live streams to see where it would go. Also to give it a little bit longer than just one time and then see, oh no, there were only 5 people. So give it a bit of consistency before you at least can review the ID. But I think for me it was really positive. So great 2021. Wherever you are and how bad the situation is, we will get through this, and it will be, in little stages. It's not like there will be anything soon like 2 years ago, like in one single switch. But is there anything you want to add, Lemty?
I don't think so. You've pretty much summed it up.
So there's a lot. I can tell you, 2021, there's a lot of great stuff coming, or bad stuff coming from us. There is coming stuff from us.
we hope it's good.
Yeah, we have some really also new music ideas that have been a little bit put on a hold due to COVID. With if you want to do video clips and stuff like that, that's a little bit hard. But there's stuff coming your way very soon. So hope you subscribed already. I assume you subscribed already if you're watching. No, I don't know. But you can subscribe and leave us a comment whenever you want, or a question. We have an Instagram if you're into that. You at Sharp11 Music, or at Timo Pedonio. How do you call yourself on Instagram?
It's just my name.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And at Joy Reinders. And then we'll see you very soon. There is a very cool transcription coming on tomorrow. Should I give it away?
No.
I'll give a hint.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a big hint, right?
Kind of.
But it's a great cover. Come on, guys. I was so happy as a little girl like a year ago or two. I don't know. I found this like it was like a bar, and they had some vinyl and I was just going through it, and I found this one. I was so happy as a little girl. Also, the bag is really cool. So, cool, guys. That's coming tomorrow. Something from that record.
Yes, cool.
See you on the other side of the year. We're off for now.
Yes. Bye-bye.
All the best, guys.